morning, Wareham. It is Friday, May 3rd. We have a great show here for you. The news headlines, the weather report, and today in history. And Bob is not here. Bob White is not here, but we have a new member joining us. That is Susan. And Susan is helping with the teleprompter today. I know they do not see you, but Susan is waving at you in Wareham. Anyways, so we are going to start with, after the news, we're going to start with Nadia Karitnakova because, of course, today is Friday, and our face for Friday is Nadia, our weekly news correspondent. And we're going to move on to two other guests after Nadia, and that they're going to be discussing the Sober Gym. We're going to be speaking with Ben Garrington and Sydney Durand, who are spearheading the program. And during the coffee segment, we have your favorite town selectman, and we also Alan Slavin with Sandy Slavin here to discuss about the Green Community Initiative in Wareham. But before we get to any of that, I would like to take this moment to thank Not Your Average Antiques, an antique shop down Cranberry Highway in East Wareham, for donating the props that you see in the morning show. So stay with us because it's going to be one great program, and the news with the weather report are next. All right, it is the frog's paradise. Rain, 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 rain is the theme of this weekend's weather forecast. We are looking at today, high at 53 degrees and low at 49 degrees, with some showers throughout the night. And also tomorrow, Saturday, high at 64 degrees, then cloudy all day and low at 48 degrees. On Sunday, high at 53 degrees and low at 44 degrees. And expect no more traffic at Route 3 and 495. Weather conditions are great except for the rain. So drive safe, everyone. And now to the news. There were a few news stories over the week, and here are the headlines. Wareham Week newspaper had the following headlines. Wareham teacher receives a grant. Janice Barton, a STEAM teacher at Wareham Middle School, has been recognized for her work to involve underrepresented and lower income students in science by the Society for Science and the Public. Barton's was awarded an advocate grant, which includes $3,000 in funding, a trip to Washington, D.C. to learn about best practices and connect with other educators, and continued support and mentorship throughout the year. Barton's goal is to increase participation in both the science fair and science club, both in numbers and in the type of students participating. And that concludes our news headlines, but we have Nadia Karitnakova in the studio, so we'll be right back after this short break. All right, bear with me here. Things are going to get better starting now. So we are welcoming Nadia Karitnokova, our weekly news correspondent, to digest this week's news and events. Welcome, Nadia.
Hi, Queen.
How you doing?
Great, thanks.
So, congratulations.
Thanks.
Well,
yeah.
how does the song go? Now they're saying congratulations.
Yeah. I got my driving license. Yay.
Yay. Okay, so Nadia, you have a few news stories here for us to cover. You got the 11th annual high school art fair.
Yes.
Okay, tell us about that.
Yesterday, Wareham High School hosted 11th annual art show, in which students from Minot, middle, and high school exhibits their art pieces, and it was fascinating. There were all kinds of arts, from clay figures to paintings, and also guests could, as a part of the exhibition, guests could witness rehearsal for the upcoming musical called Little Shop of Horrors. And
did you get to cover the event yourself?
yes, I'm going to write about this today.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
So when you went, tell me about what you saw and how you felt.
Okay. Well, first of all, I didn't expect students to produce such an amazing art.
Oh.
I mean, the clay figures alone were amazing. They were so realistic and so creative. I was blown away. Also, there were so many different kinds of paintings. All kind of styles, all kind of paint was used. It's just, I was amazed by the creativity of the students.
It was promising.
Yes, it was really promising. And to think that it's produced by elementary and middle schoolers as well as high schoolers is truly amazing. And some students even try to convey their message through their art. For example, some students try to convey the message of global warming through their art, or pollution. So it wasn't just art itself.
They had a message.
Yeah, they had a message, some of them.
How about was the turnout? Parents, members of the community?
So there were. It was hard to count how many people there were, just because it was held in such a huge building. But I know that more than 400 students participated.
Wow.
Yes. And what I especially liked is that guests could also witness rehearsal for the upcoming musical called Little Shop of Horrors. And it was so amazing. Honestly, I'm usually not a fan of high school musicals.
Yes.
But I'm going to attend this one. It's going to be from May 9th to May 12th. And I know this musical is directed on the Broadway as well, but I don't know what it's about. So I looked up online the description.
Yes.
And it literally said, a nerdy florist finds his chance for success and romance with the help of a giant man-eating plant who demands to be fed. So this is a very interesting description, and I can't wait to see it.
Very good.
Yes.
So you seem like you had a great time.
It was great, yes.
Okay.
I'm just amused by what the students can do, honestly. I did not expect that at all.
You did not expect that?
I did not expect that. Yes.
Okay, so the bar has been raised.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to move to the old train station. Selectmen, the housing authority, no, not the housing authority, sorry. The
yeah, that's correct. Wareham Housing Authority.
Oh, it is under Wareham Housing Authority?
Yes.
Okay, they are considering to renovate or to rejuvenate that old train station into something more pleasing.
Yes, so it's an old train station at the Merchants Way train depot, and authorities are considering potential use for it. For example, they're thinking to use it for as a venue for live music events, or as a sitting area during the summer for the local restaurants to place their tables and stuff. I think it's a great idea.
What do you think? Because that old train station is not directly behind your office,
almost,
but you're very close to it,
very
right?
Close. And I personally think my first reaction was, oh, it's a great idea, because I sometimes personally go there to just erase my eyes from the computer. But at the same time, I don't know how the trucks that usually deliver food to the restaurants and shops will combine well with the resting area. I don't know how they will go together, because the delivery trucks are there almost all the time.
Never mind that. And then you talk about the trash, right? The garbage behind that, because that's where they store.
Yes.
Right? And I was reading some of the comments online under the story, and people said, great. Great, trying to rejuvenate this old train station. People love to sit there and eat. It would be a beautiful thing to add on Main Street or Merchant Way. But given that all the infrastructure surrounding
Yes.
it, like the delivery trucks, the trash, some of the buildings aren't so pleasing when you look them from the back way, so that it's not going to make a difference, right? What do you think about that?
I agree with you, and I think the fact that it's located close to a liquor store doesn't help the situation.
Yeah.
Well,
How come? Why wouldn't you say that?
well, because my office is located right above the liquor store, and I could hear obscene speech almost like every day.
Oh, okay.
So it wouldn't go well with the resting area. So I think rejuvenating the station would take much more than just placing a few tables there and putting music there. It would actually demand more attention, such as cleaning the area, keeping it clean, putting recycled trash bins. I'm sorry. So I feel like it's a much bigger project than we think it is right now.
And as Selectman Peter Tattlebaum shared this statement, said the idea is to block off the area between El Mariachi and the nail salon, the beautiful nail salon,
Yes.
As well as Merchants Way, to create a temporary space to have a restaurant night. So this is not going to be a regular thing. This is just for a temporary event.
Okay.
It's in a perfect summer day to block the way to have a restaurant night on Fridays or Saturdays featuring different local restaurants as well as possible afternoon events. So how I am interpreting this, the tables, the chairs that they're suggesting to be placed, so in that old train station, wouldn't be there every single day. That's not going to be a place where every single day somebody can go and have their lunch outside. That's going to be on special occasions only when we host events.
It seems like it, but I hope they will rejuvenate the area so that people could go there on a regular basis just on their own.
Okay.
Because there is no way you could set it as a temporary rest area without cleaning it up and renovating it. It has to be renovated, I think.
And if we're going to spend money to renovate it, we must as well get more than one use out of it.
Yes, that's what I mean.
These events needs to be on occasional basis. Okay, so we're moving on to an event this upcoming, it's coming soon, right?
Yes.
Is this weekend?
Almost. Wait, which
almost. The Friends of Wareham Free Library hosting the duck race.
No, it's actually going to happen on May 26th.
Okay.
But the Friends of Wareham Free Library are hosting a contest in which they're inviting people to come up with a creative name for the huge rubber duck.
And we have a picture of that. Could we see a picture of that?
Yeah,
wow.
It's gigantic, yes. So you can enter the contest by writing the name at either Wareham Free Library or Spinney Branch Library.
Do you have a name for it?
Yes, I do have 3 names.
What is it?
I'm going to enter the contest.
Oh.
So far I came up with 3 ones, but I'm hoping to come up with more. It's Egbert,
okay.
Quack Norris.
Quack Norris? I love it.
El Quaco.
Oh, Quack. I love Quack Norris though, like Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Quack Norris.
Because it's so intimidating. So I thought it looks like Quack Norris.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I will submit one name, Butters.
Butters?
Yeah.
What does it have to do with the...
From South Park. I don't know, I just love Butters.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah. I think they look alike. I can see the resemblance.
Yeah.
Oh, but I love the Quack Norris, right?
Yes, Quack Norris.
Quack Norris. Okay, I will vote for that. Well, thank you so much for being in the studio and to just catch us up with what is happening. And we look forward to seeing your face again next Friday.
Yeah.
That was our weekly news correspondent, Nadia Karitnokova from Wareham Week, to digest the week's news and upcoming events. And now moving on, everyone was a winner at the Bridge Awards. Let's take a look. A community celebrating itself. Tonight, the Cape Cod Canal Region Chamber of Commerce recognizes businesses and people in the region.
The Stone Path Mall here tonight did a fantastic job. They are a great sponsor of the Cape Cod Canal Region Chamber, did a phenomenal job. And if I want to call up Mark St. Jean to come on up, say a few words.
I just want to thank all of you for coming this evening. And this is I'm so happy to.
Well,
be able to-
congratulations. It seems like it's going to be a very successful night.
Yes, we're looking forward to it. This was the Bridge Awards came out of a board retreat that we had with our board of directors, which Beth is chairperson of the board, and they were all volunteers, and we came up with all these ideas to recognize businesses in the community as well as individuals who have leadership skills, and we want to make sure that we know who they are and let them know that we appreciate them.
And celebrate them. I think it's
Yeah.
very important to take a moment in time and really celebrate not only our community, our business owners, but also the folks behind those businesses.
Right.
And I think that's really an important aspect of our community and our Chamber of Commerce.
Oh my God. I wish I could have said something like that quickly.
Now,
That's why I'm the chairman.
I know, you are.
Now, this is the first time we are hosting, or you're hosting such an event. So, tell me about the process. I mean, how did you come to the selection? Tell me about the process.
That was the most exciting part. What we did was a team of people got together and said, what are some good, diverse categories that we could select for people to nominate themselves or their businesses in? And once we did that, and that was kind of the hard part, to be honest with you, we set the wheels in motion. We dispatched it out to the community just through some social network branches like Facebook and emails, and the nominations came pouring in. We were so excited.
I mean, I could
And then-
imagine because the whole region, right?
Right, we got hundreds and hundreds of nominations. So what happened is that we put the nominations out online for the public to vote. Okay, so the public has a say in who won these awards. It wasn't the Chamber of Commerce deciding who was going to win here and there, was the public voted. So it just culminated into the event that we have now. So we have 9 people that we're going to be recognizing here tonight.
Oh, fantastic. So, I mean, apart from really promoting and celebrating the businesses and the people in our region that stand out in the best way, what are you hoping to accomplish out of tonight's event, or what are you hoping to see?
Well, we want to recognize people first of all, but we also want people to know that the Cape Cod Canal Region Chamber covers Bourne, Sandwich, and Wareham. We're a diverse group of people. We have hundreds of volunteers that help us through our mission. Our mission is to create economic development, jobs, and we also do a lot of work with the residential community because we believe in working with residents. We offer so many free events and scholarships and free concerts in the park that improves the quality of life. But the bottom line is that you have to have a healthy business climate in order to create jobs, economic development that makes it a better place to live and grow into.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said that actually better. That's really, truly what the Chamber of Commerce is all about, is connecting people and keeping them informed, educate, and positive. We want to be a positive role in the community.
Okay, after today's big win, how has that inspired you or shaped your thinking?
I know I try to help as much as I can. What goes around comes around. That's my philosophy, and it's nice to be recognized. I never expected it. I don't do it for that reason, that's for sure, but it was very nice.
So let's start with that. You won for Young Professional. Was it a surprise or you saw it coming?
It was a major surprise, and I'm so excited and so grateful.
Does this mean you're going to go back to your boss, town administrator, saying, I need a raise?
I already did that.
But now you have evidence to show, right? To prove.
That's right.
From their customers and employees. Congratulations, Bernadette Brom and Eric Clark of South Shore Generator Sales and Service. Congratulations.
So definitely the Cape Cod Canal Regional Chamber of Commerce will be hosting this event next year. It was great to see all the winners. There were no losers tonight. And as they said, it was all about celebrating the community. Reporting from Wareham, I am Queen Banda of WCTV. And welcome back. We are filming live or broadcasting live from our WCTV studio in Wareham. This is Good Morning Wareham, and we are here, but this is not the coffee segment. Okay, that's next. But I welcome Ben Garrington and Sydney Durand to talk about Sober Gym. Welcome.
Thank you.
So tell me about a Sober Gym. What it is, how it got started.
Yesterday morning when.
So we work for a nonprofit.
I wasn't sure how long it would
Okay.
take. And,
We're a national organization that started
probably
in
some kind of rehab as
out in Colorado by
I don't want to mess things up.
free as well. Early on in his and when he was getting sober, he got involved into boxing and found the sober friends through that community, and he had something else to focus his energy on, and really built this network of support really early on to kind of fill the void that he was self-medicating with drugs and alcohol early on, and so that kind of led him into longer-term recovery. He ended up getting involved in rock climbing and eventually training for Ironman, which brought him out to Colorado.
Wow.
And then, he had this profound experience of, now my life is so big, and even though I'm in recovery and I don't use drugs or alcohol, I am living so much more than I ever was. And so he wanted to figure out a way to give that away to other people. So he founded Phoenix, and we started in Boulder with bike rides and a little bit of rock climbing. And then we had a gym in Denver, and 3 years ago, he had originally gotten sober in Boston, so we wanted to bring the program back. So we started, we opened up our Boston chapter, and I'm the regional director there now. And then we have a brick and mortar site that's free sober active programs like yoga and CrossFit and rock climbing. And it's open to anyone who's at least 48 hours sober. You don't have to, have a history of addiction. You can just choose to live sober. You can be a supporter, and it's all free. All of our programs are peer-led, so all of our instructors, like Ben out here in Bourne, are in recovery themselves. And we don't really have a clinical component. We have the community standards that essentially boil down to, you got to be nice and safe and supportive when you're in the gym and lifting others up, and then we work out and build community.
It sounds like the perfect place to be. So Ben, tell me how you found Phoenix and how you're fitting in.
Yeah, so I've owned CrossFit Bourne for about 6 years now on the Cape. And I heard about the Phoenix a little over a year ago when CrossFit highlighted them on their website. And I kind of started doing some research. I really loved their model of free classes for people in recovery. The gym, especially CrossFit, was such a big part of my recovery. It was kind of just the next natural step to kind of get up there in Boston and see what their program was and see how I could bring it down to the Cape.
Fantastic. So one thing that struck out to me, you said that it's free.
Yes.
And we're about to discuss costs. So this is free.
Absolutely.
So tell me, apart from you don't have to pay,
Yep.
how do you support the science that working out helps you during your recovery?
So what's kind of some of the science
Yeah,
behind
some of
that?
the science. Why for people to come and work out at the gym at Phoenix, using the program that you offer versus, let's say, going to the Y or going to Planet Fitness versus going to a regular gym?
Right. So we really say the magic piece for us is the community. We use fitness and physical activity as the hook, but in reality, our founder always says Phoenix could be bird watching, it could be knitting. It's really, we're trying to do something positive in a safe, supportive environment. And the beauty of Phoenix is every component, the peer-to-peer model, the safe and supportive environment, just how our gyms look. We have new equipment. We don't try to use anything that's ratty or secondhand because we're trying to instill value in people. And all those components, we're really lucky to our deputy director, Jackie Hilios, has a background in clinical social work. So she's really done and she's a researcher, so she's done all the research in what are all these components of supporting people in recovery that have evidence to support that it works, and then we brought them together into this environment. So we really say that the community and the standards that we set, that we go over with everyone, it all is really, basic. Like I said, it's no swearing. We're going to make sure that we have our clothes on when we're doing Phoenix, and everyone, no harmful or derisive language or anything. But those components are really important, because if we set that tone, we're creating that community and that safe environment, and that's what we really think is the benefit. And there are also benefits to physical activity. You know, it rewires synapses in the brain, so we know there's benefits to that, but the core of what we do is we create safe, supportive community.
You talked about behavior, and some of the behavior that you mentioned are behavior that I remember from elementary school, middle school. Don't swear, be nice, play well with others, right? These are the core fundamentals of how to be a decent human being. And yet you're reminding grown adults to do the same thing. Was there a need for such a place in Bourne, in Wareham, in your community? Do you feel like such a place needed to exist in a working workout environment?
Yeah, I think, I mean, it needs to exist in more places besides just the Cape. It'd be great if it was everywhere. But definitely in Bourne, it's one of a kind. We know that the community on the Cape and in Plymouth County really it's been hit hard by the overdose deaths lately. So yeah, there's definitely a need for it on the Cape and all the surrounding areas as well.
You know, and forgive me for saying this, I may sound ignorant a little bit, but I hear people say that if you want to recover, right, if you want to put a life aside, do not socialize yourself with those who have traveled the same path. You know, get new friends, right? If you want to do better, get people who are doing better, right? So the gym, the sober gym, people coming there, majority, I would assume, they have struggled with addiction one way or another. So wouldn't that be tempting to bring all these people together? How do you control the conversation that this person is not using the sober gym to lure people back to using?
Well, I think the community guidelines come down to that. You know, the first thing we say is everyone who comes to Phoenix is at least 48 hours sober. It's all in the honor system. So we really don't run into a lot of people abusing that system. And if they are, for whatever reason, if they're not in recovery or, you know, they might not be 48 hours sober, like they probably really just need to be there and be in a positive.
Do you ask for proof?
We don't ask for proof. We just, you know, if someone doesn't, if they say they're 48 hours sober, then we believe them. You know, our instructors reserve the right to, if they're concerned for any safety reasons or whatever, that they can pull someone aside. But it's really done in a caring way, as opposed to, you know, we're pointing you out kind of way. But really, you know, like Phoenix is a place where we're all just trying to get better and get well, and whatever we're recovering from. So while, you know, I personally haven't struggled with a substance addiction, I have family who have, and both of my parents are in recovery. And so, you know, I've got this part of me that I'm trying to heal as well. So most people are just there to heal, and we don't really see, you know, people going back out or. So
it sounds, I love it, and I want to visualize it. Yeah. So you normally, when I go to the gym, you swipe your card, you mind your own business, right? Don't get hurt. That's basically it. Don't get hurt, don't get into a fight. So when somebody comes to the Phoenix gym or using the program, when they come to your CrossFit gym in Bourne, is it like we begin with a morning prayer, then let's talk about our feelings, then let's go and weight lift? What do you do?
Yeah. So it's a very close-knit community. We know everybody who comes in the doors. We start each class with a little circle up, kind of go around the circle, introduce yourselves. We'll ask like a fun question of the day, really get to know one another. Aside from that, it's really, it's that and then we work out together, and it's that shared experience of struggle, which is really a microcosm of recovery that, you know, creates those bonds and that euphoric feeling afterwards when it's all done and over with.
So you believe in this?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So what are you looking for right now, apart from spreading awareness? What's the goal?
Yeah. Well, our goal for Phoenix nationally is to be as many places as possible. This year, we've grown quite a bit in the past few years. We've gone from being in 3 states to now we're in 20 with different kind of programs, and some look like Ben's program where we're in a gym, and others are our own sites that we own. So we really want to be everywhere. In order to do that, we're doing a lot of capacity building as an organization this year. But people supporting Phoenix, so we can be free for others, we do a ton of fundraising. So we apply for grants from foundations, state funding, individual donors. So that's really like and all the funds, like a donation directly goes to save lives. So
can a typical gym Like, can the Y come to you and say, I want your program in my gym? Or does the Y have to be a completely different type of gym in order to have the program?
They could. We've had some conversations with larger gyms. This year specifically, we're really focused on capacity building, so we can talk with folks. We have to kind of push a lot of our things to 2020 and beyond. But we, like I said, we do want to be everywhere. We're really we did a big sprint push, and now we're just trying to get all of our systems in place as an organization so that when we do grow again in 2020 and 2021, that we can make sure that everything's really high quality and good.
Fantastic.
But yeah, if anyone's interested in helping out, donating space or donating funds, we're happy to talk to them.
Ben, I'm going to let you have the last word.
Sure.
You being in recovery and being in this program, what do you have to say? Last words.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, CrossFit, fitness, in general was a really big part of my recovery. I spent most of my early days in recovery in the gym, building bonds, camaraderie with other people who were in recovery. And I love what the Phoenix is doing, and now we have the opportunity to do it down here on the Cape. And we're really just trying to spread our arms to the Cape and the surrounding areas, get as many people into our gym as we can, help as many people as we can. If you come in, you're going to meet a lot of awesome people, a lot of connections, and if you're struggling, we can certainly help you out as well, point you in the right direction, and get you on the right path to recovery.
Fantastic. I love the shirt. Soba.
Yeah,
we can see that. Yours just say Phoenix.
Mine's a Phoenix.
Okay,
Soba. It's a regional one.
Oh, I love it. Soba.
Soba.
And somebody in the studio said, isn't everybody sober when they go to the gym? Well, thank you to both of you for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, so that was Soba Gym, a program run by Phoenix. And the gym right now, the closest one in our town or in our area, located in Bourne, a CrossFit gym in Bourne, run by Ben Garrington. And so this concludes this part of the segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Today in History. Welcome back. We're broadcasting live from our WCTV studio in Wareham. This is Good Morning Wareham, your source for local news, weather report, and more information. And now for a moment in history. Let's take a look at where we were today in history. In 2002, I know, way back then, the film Spider-Man, starring Tobey Maguire and directed by Sam Raimi, was released to great office box success. The film had 2 sequels and was one of the movies that kickstarted the superhero craze that has swept through pop culture throughout the 21st century so far. And we're going to go to 1863. Hazel Grove was taken by, which was the perfect spot for weaponry, was taken by the Confederates. And then following that, the Confederates the Confederates fired cannons at the Union lines, greatly damaging the Union forces. And we're going to go to today's birthday. As usual, we'll celebrate somebody's birthday. And today we are highlighting James Brown's birthday. He was born in 1933. Brown had an outstanding voice and amazing showmanship. Known as the godfather of soul, Rolling Stone recognizes him as the most sampled artist of all time. And the number 7 greatest artist of all time. And happy birthday to everyone else celebrating their big day today. Stay with us. The coffee segment is next. We have our, they called celebrity power couples. They are the Beyonce and Jay-Z of Wareham town politics. So stay with us. We'll be right back, but let's take a look at our events calendar. Day.
Hey, we just killed the TV.
Oh boy, don't I have the show for you. For our coffee segment, it has never been done before. Here in Good Morning Wareham or any other show or newspaper article, never been done before. We're both Slavens. Stand next to one another, or sit next to one another to talk about the same thing. Okay? Welcome, Alan Slavin, our favorite selectman. And Sandy Slavin, representing, today you're here as the chairman of the Open Space Committee.
Yes.
You oversee so many committees in this town. I was like, which one should I plug in today? And you're both wearing bow ties.
Yes. Mine's a clip-on because he doesn't know how to tie them.
That's right.
Okay.
Oh, that's
My
it's good for you.
So we are talking about the Green Community
nice.
Initiative.
I am nice.
You are nice. We're talking about the Green Community Initiative, right? Alan, when I called you to let you know that this is what we're going to talk about, you said we are already a green community. Right. And to my surprise, I was like, are the articles talking about Wareham is a green community? I've yet to see a newspaper article talking about we are a green community. So why was this swept under the rugs?
Wasn't.
Oh, 1 second, 1 second. Let's take a little break, people. Why? His mic died?
I don't know. We're just not getting it.
Okay, sorry about that. We had trouble with Alan's mic.
We spaced out.
Okay, you spaced out. All right, so the question was, why was this swept under the rug?
Wasn't.
It wasn't, okay.
No, it was mentioned at one of the Board of Selectmen's meetings several times that we were applying, working on it, and then when we got notification, it was announced again.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, there was discussion because I believe we got, with the Green Community's acceptance, we also received approximately $205,000 grant.
All right, so let's talk about the Green Community. Reading about the Green Community Initiative, it came from the Green Community Act of 2008, which created the Green Community Division, where you meaning the town of Wareham, applied or wanted to be a green community, right? Tell us about the process.
Initially, when it came out, there's a person called Seth Pickering who works in that particular division, and he has a Southeast Mass area. There was virtually nobody in the green communities that had applied and been accepted yet, because you have to meet certain criteria. So when I talked to Seth about it originally, I brought it forward to the town as far as once it became a selectman. And the discussion was the stretch code, which you have to get through town meeting, which is very difficult because the stretch code changes the regulations of how you build a house, et cetera, among other things. So that was the hard part, and a lot of communities have had a hard time doing that as well, getting that through. So basically what happened is the stretch code has certain regulations. Over a 5-6 year period, almost everything that was put into the original stretch code became part of the current zoning bylaws anyways at the state level. So even though it took us almost 6 years to get this done, we could have done it immediately because all the rules and regulations were in place anyway. So it basically is now there. So that was easy to do at the end. And town meeting was unanimous vote.
Okay, so in order to be designated as a green community, we had there are 5 requirements that we had to accomplish. One of them, requirement number 1, we had to pledge to reduce 20% of our energy use.
Yeah, you basically put together a plan, a long-term plan of how you're going to reduce your energy over a certain period of time.
Over 5 years.
Yeah, and it can be like, your lighting, whether it's in the buildings, out on the streets, etc. You're talking also about energy reduction as far as vehicles, and it just goes on like that. So anything going forward, you have to find ways of saving energy, whether it's fuel, electricity, etc.
Are we only on step number 1, or did we accomplish all 5 steps?
You have to accomplish all 5 steps in order to become a green community.
Fantastic.
So you can't just say we've made one, it's okay. The first piece is just an energy assessment of the whole town, of how much energy the municipality uses, and that's part of the whole process. But in order to finish, the last piece was a stretch code, and therefore that was it.
All right, and that's it. So why did you decide to advocate for Wareham to be a green community? Did we have a problem?
It's not so much a problem, but becoming a green community gives you access to grants in order to do things like people complain about, the outside lighting or the street lighting. It's just an example. Well, the street lighting is very expensive. If you go to with LED lighting, it's much more effective, they last longer, etc. But we don't have the funds to replace all the lights that way. Being able to be a green community, we can take those funds and replace more lighting more quickly. That's just one example. Okay. If we go ahead and we buy like electric cars that we bought, that grant can be used toward those electric cars, etc. If you would buy a regular gas burning car at the same time, you won't get that.
You won't get that.
You can't use it. And you have to use all this money up before you can apply again. You get one grant, it's not one time. It's every year you can reapply. But you have to use the funds you're given before you can reapply again.
So you mentioned electric cars. Was the grant, the money that we were given, did that go to the electric cars?
It didn't go initially because it was a 3-year lease, and that was done before we were a green community. But it helped because I think it also covered us for the actual, what they call a Quadzilla, which is a 4-headed charging station at the town hall. And our lease is coming up, so whatever we go ahead forward, we can use again. And we have bought some gas vehicles which are more efficient than the other ones, which qualify as well.
Okay, so I'm going to bring, and we're going to pause a little bit, Alan, I'm bringing you, Sandy. Tell us about the open space interest in the green community.
Do we have to?
Play nice.
Go ahead.
Part of open space is to say, we have this area, let's find a way to enjoy it, let's find a way to improve it. And that's just part of it, is that green is more than trees, but trees are extremely important, and it is a concern to cut down trees in order to bring in solar power, but then solar power adds to less fossil fuels being used to create electricity, but then again I've lost the trees to produce the oxygen, so it's a circle anyway. But open space says we want to use our land better.
Okay, so open space mission of using our land better, does it fit with the plan, the 5-year plan to convert our town to a green community?
It fits in that with the stretch code. It's by right, as far as like when people want to do solar projects. By right means you can take an area and you have a right to go ahead and do it. It bypasses some of the zoning restrictions. That's why if you looked at the solar field that was done over by the mall on the other side there, people complained that was a big area. I think it would have been a better use to develop it economically for the town. But and I think it was actually Eversource came in, they bought the land, and as a utility they have certain rights also. But because of the green community as well, by right, they're able to put a solar field in very easily without going through all the steps a normal person would go through. So if someone wants to put a solar field in Wareham, by right now, it's basically easy to do.
Is that what we want to do? To
Yes.
add more solar farms in Wareham?
Yes and no.
Sandy, tell me the no.
I'm the no, she's the yes.
Oh, she's the, okay, Sandy,
No,
wow.
I didn't.
Tell me the yes. Let's keep it
I don't think we've talked about this.
Yes. See, it's a simple answer. Yes, dear, you're always right.
So tell me what you think.
Well, I am concerned about losing the trees for the solar fields, but there are a lot of areas that are already cleared, been cleared for some time. Why not utilize those areas for solar farms? I mean, think about it. Who's to say that somewhere down the line you can't get a solar farm on top of an existing bog and have the cranberries grow just as well, but then have the field used at another level to produce electricity? There are a lot of sand pits around that could be easily transformed into a solar field, and no tree has to be taken. I don't like the idea of stripping the trees, but the section outside of Toby Road, most of that was virtually cleared to begin with. You didn't see it because you were hidden behind a section of trees along the road, but most of it had already been cleared,
trees,
so
yeah.
they didn't strip a forest.
Okay. What is your take?
It's a two-way piece on that. you know, generating energy this way is inexpensive as far as, you know, because it's solar power. The cost of doing it is subsidized by the government, which means it's subsidized by us paying taxes. So it's not a cheaper energy, but it's a sustainable energy.
And can we sustain? Can Wareham sustain itself being a green community? Can we sustain?
No, that's really not going to sustain the community. It just gives us the opportunity to cut our costs, municipality-wise, et cetera, as far as electrical use and everything.
And those costs that we have cut down, are they significant costs? Were they really save money?
Yes.
We did.
Yeah, because we also bought what they call SREC credits back, probably 5-6 years ago. And those credits are basically, there's a solar field out and actually in Plymouth that we bought the credits from that particular solar field. I think it was 6 megawatts of power, which we apply those credits against our electrical bills, which basically almost offsets all of our electrical costs. Mm-hmm. The only problem we have is as we get more and more energy efficient, we use less energy. There could be a time when we actually turn around and have more credits than we have available to offset because we don't use as much. So that's the plus and minus. Also, the other part is that if we use a lot of land up for solar fields, it means that it's not available possibly for economic development of new businesses, et cetera. So there's a area there where you have to kind of measure out which is best at the time. As I said, the project on Toby Road, I would have rather seen, you know, been held off for business because there's a whole business development there and everything else.
Okay.
So there's no 100% yes, 100% no.
So when we're talking about green community, people may say, okay, what has changed? I'm seeing the same things. Could you point out some areas that people can say,
I can tell you that
this is because of the green community initiative?
There are street lights that are being replaced right now and have been with LED lights. Different parts of town, you have to look at municipal maintenance. Mm-hmm. They have their own schedule. We have plans every year for so many. Mm-hmm. Again, vehicles that we've been purchasing, the newer vehicles are all more energy efficient than the other ones.
Didn't they switch out a bunch of lights in the schools and stuff like
school
that?
Lights.
So maybe more efficient lighting.
So at the end of the day, our budget, our annual budget, it decreases? Has some?
Our costs decrease.
Okay. Our costs decrease. Okay. Very good. So we don't have to raise taxes or take money from somewhere else in order to accommodate? No.
Sure.
Okay, I love the sure. So the sure, I'm reading that, yes, we're decreasing the cost, but not in that a big significant way that you're going to see that.
You're not going to see it per se, but because your labor costs, your payrolls, your health insurance, all these other things continue to go up at a higher rate than the town is allowed to increase, you know, with Proposition 2.5. So what it does is it helps you not have to basically cut back on services. You're not going to see a huge number. $200,000 in a grant is not a lot of money when you have a $60 million budget, if you think about that. Mm-hmm. It's not a substantial savings for someone to say, oh, we're going to do all this, that. But it just helps us at least to maintain what we're doing.
What was the cost that we spent by following these 5 criteria in order to qualify or to be designated as a green community?
There was no cost to the town to qualify. It just had to adopt these particular programs.
No, but when we bought the electric cars, or we leased the electric cars.
Well, the electric cars were basically, I think the lease was less, it was substantially less money than leasing a regular car because there was incentives and grants, etc.
Mm-hmm. But the cars were needed
anyways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And here's an example. Alan does a lot of business trips, Taunton, Boston, et cetera, for the town, and he asked for reimbursement. Well, it was certainly cheaper for the town to give him use the electric cars than it was to reimburse him for his mileage.
Okay.
Correct?
We have a lot of town employees would have to go even to the western part of the state or go somewhere. They have to use their own car. They get reimbursed mileage. It doesn't really cover their real costs, but it's still there. So the town now has saved money not having to reimburse anybody for travel.
Okay. So where are we? We're now a green community. How are we moving forward?
Well, now as we finish off this grant, between Harbor Master, Ken Buckland, his area there, Dave Menard, and Derek Sullivan, they'll come up with different programs of things they want to do next. There's constantly things you can do under the Green Community Acts that save energy.
Does any municipal building take precedence over the other?
No, that's really depends on municipal maintenance, what their program is.
Okay.
They have someone who looks at the buildings and maintains buildings. They make the decisions what they're going to do.
How
I mean,
about
if you were to
this?
change your, say on the multi-service center, you were going to change your boiler downstairs to a more efficient boiler, that qualifies.
Fantastic.
It just as a simple example. If you were to put a new roof on a building which saves energy, or insulate a building, that qualifies.
That would have qualified for the minute forest.
Yeah, except the minor forest, because of its age and everything else, really made sense to replace it.
To replace it, okay.
Because you have to basically cost-benefit analysis.
Think about the energy saving. No longer have an air conditioner in every room in the town hall. Bring in a full central air conditioner and heating system in town hall as opposed to everybody having their own AC. That would be a lot of savings.
There's a lot of...
There's that type of stuff.
There's things you don't think of, but anything you do, it's like buying a refrigerator. If you buy a new refrigerator, which is substantially more energy efficient, it's not a huge savings, but it's still, there's a savings there. My biggest fear is that we get so efficient energy-wise at some point in life that we can't, we get to a point where we have way too much credit for, and can't use all the credits.
Well, that's not a big problem.
It is.
At least if you have money to spend, but you don't have any expenditure.
Well, if you have nothing to offset it with, it's lost.
All right, let's get there first. Let's finish with the lights along Main Street, and if we need more, we should maybe have more lights and so forth.
It's just people have to understand, because everything is so expensive, it just takes a while.
Okay.
It's not going to happen in a year or 2 years. $200,000 is not going to cover a lot of lights when an average light cost is like $3,000.
All right. Well, thank you to both of you, and thank you for being very cordial with one another. No fights, no yelling. I'm very happy that you got to behave yourself, Alan.
It's a simple answer. Just say yes, dear, you're always right.
Well, that concludes our morning program. Thank you to all of you who have watched. If you missed us this morning, do not worry. The show will re-air this evening at 6 p.m. Join us on Monday. I believe the Wareham High School DECA team are going to be here to talk about their upcoming fundraiser. I believe it's an auction. But yes, so thank you for being here. And thanks to my guests, Sandy Slavin and Alan Slavin, for being here for the coffee segment. Until Monday, have a wonderful day, Wareham. Bye.